Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be talking about the new ban list in Master Duel. Implementation is on May 31st, that is next Saturday. Excellent. We don't have to wait too long for this. And some of these changes are pretty good. So let's get started. First things first, we have Bonfire being limited from 2 to 1. Bonfire, add one level 4 or lower pyro monster from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one Bonfire per turn. This card's seeing play all over the place. Let's take a look at the usage. This card is the 19th most popular spell in the game. And let's see. Snake Eyes Fiendsmith plays it at 2. Rescue Ace plays it at 2. Volcanic plays it at 2. Pure Snake Eyes plays it at 2. Snake Eyes Rescue Ace plays it at 2. And Snake Eyes Fire King plays it at 2. Let's see. There was a first place tournament on the 18th with Snake Eyes Fiendsmith playing Bonfire at 2 by Fictinium, former tournament admin for the Guild of Gurus. Congratulations, Fictinium. And then 3 other tournaments on the same day where it was top 16 with 2 copies of Bonfire. So Bonfire is seeing a lot of play. Going from 2 to 1 definitely changes the deck quite a lot. I think this is fine. This card is basically Reinforcement of the Army. Yes, Reinforcement of the Army can be used more than once per turn. Does that matter? Not really. It's not a card that you can search. So, realistically, you were only ever playing one copy anyway, unless you got super lucky. And that one copy is really good. Being able to add any Pyro monster from your deck to your hand is really good. So, I don't have a problem with this being limited to 1. It makes perfect sense. It's a good way to nerf both Snake Eyes Fiendsmith and Snake Eyes Fire King at the same time. And that's good. Next up, we have OSS, Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye, being limited from 3 to 1. That actually makes sense. I believe that happened in the OCG. Or no, it didn't. It got banned in the TCG. It's still 3 in the OCG. Let's take a look here. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure that most people only play it at 1 copy, but it looks like... So most people do only play this at 1 because it's easily searchable with Diabellstar, and then they just play 3 copies of Diabellstar. But Snake Eyes Fiendsmith, it looks like 15% of that deck is playing it at 3. And 35% is playing it at 2. So only half of Fiendsmith, Snake Eyes Fiendsmith specifically, is playing this at 1 copy. Snake Eyes Fiendsmith is still considered tier 1. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, alright. I mean, people have been complaining that Snake Eyes has been out of control for a while. I feel like this card should be banned as opposed to going to 1. Or maybe you put Diabellstar to 1 and make people draw this card off of Poplar instead of being able to use Diabellstar to play this and search Poplar. But they probably don't want to limit Diabellstar because she's also seeing play in Azamina. I don't know. It's going to have an impact, but I don't think it's going to have enough of an impact. Maybe combined with Bonfire going to 1, this will help, but I'm less excited about this change. Now here's a good one. Maiden of White going from 3 to 2. I'm pretty sure that if you check, let's take a look at Blue Eyes, I'm pretty sure we're going to see that 100% of Blue Eyes players are playing this card at 3. Let's see. 97% of Blue Eyes players are currently playing this card at 3. with only 2% playing it at or only 3% playing it at 2. The 20th most popular monster in the entire game. So yeah, this card is really, really good. For those of you that don't know what it does, you can play True Light from your hand, deck, or graveyard by pitching this card, and then it also revives itself if you special summon Blue Eyes while it's in the graveyard. And if you target it, you can special summon a Blue Eyes or a Tuner monster from your graveyard. So you get her out, you get True Light, which allows you to play your Wishes for Eyes of Blue from your deck, and then you can use the effect to revive her, and you can then synchro her into Spirit Dragon, which gives you access to Crimson Dragon, which gives you access to Seafer Dragon or Ultimate Spirit Dragon or whatever you want to use. So this card's really, really strong. Putting the card to 2 definitely does hurt the deck, especially its consistency, but it doesn't make the deck much weaker. And of course, you still have 3 copies of Wishes, so you're still going to be able to search this card. But that means Wishes is most likely to be used as a starter, as opposed to as an extender. And that's really important because that means you'll have to do something else with True Light. So since you're going to be potentially using your Wishes more frequently at the start of your turn as opposed to in the middle of your turn, then you're going to be searching something different with True Light. Probably Ultimate Fusion. So maybe this will push more people to play Magia list, which is interesting. This is good. I think this change will probably change some lists. Let's take a look at some of these lists real quick. So you'll probably either have more people running more copies of Effect Veiler to make up for this, or they may, well, yeah, probably just more copies of Effect Veiler to make up for this, so that they can more consistently make their Link 1. So yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, and then next up we have Sage with Eyes of Blue going to 2 as well. When this card is normal summon, you can add Maiden to your hand, and you can discard this card to target an effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon Blue Eyes from your deck. This is very relevant because you can use both of these effects in the same turn, and Sage with Eyes of Blue's first effect is not once per turn. So, since you have the ability to normal summon twice with your field spell, if you have 2 copies of Sage, you get 2 searches, or you could potentially search and then also special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck. So Sage is a card that benefits you heavily to have 2 copies in your hand. Going from 3 to 2 makes that much less likely. So not only do you have fewer starters, but you also have a lot less extenders. Very, very useful. This is going to make Blue Eyes, I think, just a little bit worse. I think that this will probably push Blue Eyes down to tier 2, to be honest. It'll still be a really, really good deck, but it won't be nearly as consistent as it used to be, which is great. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. Then we have Brain Infusion going from 1 to 2. That's fantastic. Brained has been a 60-card pile for a while, mostly because their entire deck revolves around 1 card, and since they can never get that card, they play grass, and then they mill a bunch of cards to try and find a card that they can use to either draw Brain Infusion, or they hope that they mill the Brain Infusion and a card that allows them to return Brain Infusion from their graveyard to their hand. So, hopefully this card being at 2 means that people will stop playing 60-card Branded. Maybe they're going to put Branded Fusion to 3 next patch, which would be very useful. Branded is an annoying deck. I'm sure a lot of people are sick of playing against this deck, but it is the current like new player offer, and you can get 2 copies of it by playing. You get an invite, and then you also invite someone else. So it does feel kind of bad for new players that they get 2 copies of Brand Infusion, but they can only play 1 copy. So I'm glad that this change happened at least. And I feel like Branded is always cycling between Rogue and Tier 3, but I don't think that's a problem. I think that Branded is kind of the baseline of acceptable power. It's okay that it does well in tournaments, and I don't see it being an issue. I think Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon, is an acceptable level of power. It has the ability to banish a card, and then if you pop it, you have to win the game that turn, or you get board wiped. I think that's perfectly fine. And if you lose the game to Mirror Jade wiping your board, then you're a bad player, to be honest. At least in tournament settings. You should be used to Brain Infusion by now. You should be used to Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon by now. As far as ladder goes, I think that Branded is a good deck to have in the metagame because for players who've never played against Branded before, Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon, it's like a wall. It's a very fair card that feels overwhelming the first time you go up against it. So it's like something that you have to surpass. It's like a stepping stone in going from like a gold tier duelist to a plat tier duelist. And once you can regularly beat Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon, that's when you really deserve to be in platinum. And then you have other boss monsters that you need to scale in order to get up to diamond and then master. I feel like that's fair. This is a good card. Next up, we have cards going from 2 and 1 to 3, which is excellent. We have Sprite Blue going from 2 to 3, Sprite Jet going from 2 to 3, and Nimble Beaver going from 1 to 3. To be honest, it felt like they kind of forgot about Sprite. Sprite has not been a thing for a long time, and this is good. I mean, first of all, I don't think the Nimble package is the best version of Sprite. I know that a lot of people like to play it because it's simple. I think that Runic is way better for Sprite, to be honest. But Sprite is a deck that is just like, it's very simple and very consistent. One of the main problems that Sprite causes people is that Sprite specifically says that you can use it with any like level 2s, and that makes it an engine for a lot of decks. Like, there are a lot of decks this can see play in. For Hire only has like 2 level 2 monsters, and Sprites go really well with For Hire just because you play 3 copies of the 1 level 2 that you want, and then you use Gigantic Sprite to search it. So it is like a deck that can splash into basically anything, which I suppose for the time that it came out was a little bit unfair. But now we have Fiendsmith, which can go into everything. So it doesn't really make sense for Sprite to be left out in the cold. So I'm glad that Sprite's back. I mean, I think that Sprite is. I think that they should ban Elf. To be honest, I feel like if you're going to bring Sprite back, you should ban Elf. Elf has been in the meta long enough, but maybe we've missed the opportunity to have Totally Awesome unbanned at this point because now Mermaid Atlantean is here, and so either it's going to be that Bahamut Shark gets banned or Totally Awesome stays banned. So fair enough. Maybe we're just going to be forever without Toad, which is unfortunate. Great. We're back to full power Sprite. I don't see a problem with this. I think that Sprite Jet in particular is a really interesting card because the Sprite spells and traps are all pretty cool. And good change. Then lastly, we have Nadir Servant going from 2 to 3. I mean, Dogmatica is not really like a deck that I'm afraid of. Albazoa is a very powerful boss monster, don't get me wrong. But it's a ritual it's a ritual monster. Yes, you do have a lot of ways to search and play the card. Dogmatica can very consistently make Albazoa, but it's still a ritual monster. That's still a bad card inherently. So it having 4,000 attack points and being unaffected by Fusion, Synchro, Link, and Xyz, and then also being able to force your opponent to mill half their extra deck. Uh, it's not really all that unfair, to be honest. It's not like it has an Omni Negate or anything. So I think that Nadir's Servant was a fine card to begin with. I know that it does like set up your extra deck graveyard shenanigans really well, but it's also a really good starter, and it locks you into the extra decks out of the extra decks. So I think it's just a fair card, to be honest. I've never seen a reason to put this at 2. Now that it's back at 3, I think it'll be a good change. Yeah. So overall, solid ban list. Only one questionable hit, which is OSS, but it's gonna do something. It's just I don't feel like it's gonna do enough. And having 3 good hits, 1 hit that might not be enough, and 5 solid unhits is pretty good for a ban list. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.